Just a reminder to vote in this week's Locals poll, where you decide what deck I take to Locals every single week. Without any further ado, I hope you enjoyed the video. What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, and for today we have the profile for the deck that we would have brought to Locals this past week, being Hi-Speedroid. We ended up not being able to attend Locals physically, so we had to do online surrogate matches instead because we had a prior commitment. We ended up actually doing really good. We went 3-0, which was actually really surprising. But yeah, here's what it looks like on paper, then we'll get to the card by card. Alright, so starting off with our suite of pendulums, we got one Hi-Speedroid Wing Synchron and 3 copies of Hi-Speedroid Kernel Clackers. So basically, you want to draw or search clackers in order to place Synchron from the deck in your pendulum zone. That's what his pendulum effect is. And then with this one, you destroy these two to special summon a Clear Wing Synchro Dragon straight from your extra deck. And then when they get destroyed, he summons another copy of himself from the deck as a tuner, and this one is a Foolish Burial Goods for a Hi-Speedroid Spell or Trap, which we will get to later. Next, 3 copies of Hi-Speedroid Double Yo-Yo. When he's normal summoned, you get to reborn one of your Hi-Speedroids, so this is a really good way to start your synchro plays. We also have 3 copies of Hi-Speedroid Horse Stilts. He basically does the same thing as Double Yo-Yo, except the special summon Hi-Speedroid comes from your hand rather than the graveyard. And then he has an effect the next turn after he's sent where you can banish him to Foolish Burial another Hi-Speedroid. Next, 3 copies of Hi-Speedroid Terror Top. And then I guess I'll just also pair it with the 3 copies of Hi-Speedroid Takatomborg. So these two are, of course, the dynamic duo of the deck. If you control no monsters, you can special Terror Top. Terror Top searches a Hi-Speedroid, usually going to be Takatomborg, and then you can immediately special summon the Takatomborg, tribute it to summon a tuner, and then you're just off to the races. Next, 1 copy of Hi-Speedroid Den Den Daiko Duke and 2 copies of Hi-Speedroid Car Turbo. So Den Den Daiko Duke, if you get in the graveyard, it can banish itself to serve as a monster reborn for a different Hi-Speedroid monster, or specifically one of your tuners. And then Car Turbo, he can just special summon himself from your hand, and then he can also banish himself and another Hi-Speedroid from the grave to give all your wind monsters an 800 attack boost. We also have 2 copies of Hi-Speedroid Tri-Eye Dice just as a defensive option, and it is another level 3 tuner that we can utilize. Next is 3 copies of Hi-Speedroid Marble Machine. So when this guy is normal summoned, you get to add a Hi-Speedroid monster from your deck to your hand. You're wind locked after that, but that doesn't really matter in this deck. And finally, rounding out the monsters, we have 2 copies of Hi-Speedroid Red-Eye Dice. So with this one, when it's summoned, you get to target a Hi-Speedroid monster you control that's not named Red-Eyed Dice, and change its level from 1 to 6. That is not a once per turn. This is the centerpiece of the deck. Next, moving on to the spells. Got 3 copies of Hi-Speedroid Scratch. Basically, this is Signet Mining for Hi-Speedroids. It's basically what it is. Next, 3 copies of Hi-Speedroid Wheel. You discard a card, roll a 6-sided die, and you get to special summon up to 2 Hi-Speedroids from your deck, whose combined levels equal the result of the die. So, yeah, pretty nice way to just get 2 free bodies on the field, potentially. Next, 3 copies of Speed Recovery. This one is basically a monster reborn for Hi-Speedroids, and then you can banish it from the grave during the turn that it wasn't sent to the grave in order to recycle a Hi-Speedroid from your grave to your hand. Some generic cards, 1 Monster Reborn, 1 Reasoning just to try to get free body, Foolish Burial for grave setup, especially with things like Double Yo-Yo. And finally, the 2 trap cards, 1 Hi-Speedroid Duplicate, which is basically a compulse, and then Hi-Speedroid Clear Wing Wonder, which is, it basically pops, but this is actually the one you're usually going to send to the graveyard with the Synchron effect. And because basically it allows you to banish one of your clear wing guys, and then immediately put it back onto the field, so that way it resets because they're soft once per turn negates, so that way you get an extra negate. And yeah, so that's it for the main deck. Next, let's go on to the extra deck. First, 2 copies of Hi-Speedroid Rubber Band Shooter. It just takes 2 wind monsters to make, and so it has 2 effects. You can banish a wind synchro monster from your extra deck to reveal 2 Speedroids from your deck whose combined levels equal the level of that synchro monster, and your opponent randomly chooses one to add to your hand, or I guess I should say and. He also has an ignition effect where he can grant you an additional normal summon of a Speedroid monster. So yeah, he can search and he can serve as an extender, so pretty nice, especially if you're able to get this for free off of Speedroid Wheel. Next, 2 copies of Hi-Speedroid Cork Shooter. So this is the junk speeder of the deck, so to speak. So this is kind of one of the choke points, because when it's synchro summoned, you have one of 2 effects that you can choose. You can add a Speedroid spell or trap from your deck to your hand, but literally no one uses that. The effect that you're going to be using is the second one, which is where you actually get to special summon the synchro materials back from the graveyard. That allows you to keep synchro climbing, especially with red-eye dice being able to modulate levels, so on and so forth. Next, 1 copy of Hi-Speedroid Glider number 2. It's a level 5 tuner synchro. Basically, when you synchro summon this, you want to already have Clearwing Synchro Dragon in your graveyard, so you can reborn it to go into the big level 12 guy. Next, 1 copy of Hi-Speedroid Chambara, just for extra damage output. Hi-Speedroid Kendama. So I run this for 2 reasons. One is it's another option to try to go into some of your bigger synchros, and then it can also serve as burn damage for time if you need it. 1 Clearwing Fast Dragon, and then 2 copies of the original Clearwing Synchro Dragon. So Clearwing Fast Dragon is the manga counterpart, and basically you can target a monster that was special summoned from the extra deck, and as a quick effect, changes attack to 0 and its effects are negated. So that is really nice on a generic level 7. Clearwing Synchro Dragon, you're not really going to be using its effects all that much. It's mainly just used as material for some of your bigger dragons, so we're not really going to dwell on that. Next, 1 copy of Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. So basically, he just requires any tuner and any number of non-tuner synchro monsters. He's a walking monster negate, and then if he battles an opponent's level 5 or higher monster, he gains attack equal to that monster's attack during the damage step. So that way you can push for big damage. 1 copy of Hi-Speedroid Kite Drake. If you synchro summon this one, he can either negate everything else that your opponent controls, or he can destroy everything else on the field. Usually, I did summon this in actually one of the games. I can't remember which one it was. Oh, yeah, I remember now. It was the Sword Soul game, because I had already baited everything. And so then I just summoned this to wipe the field. But I actually usually banish this off of the Rubber Band Shooter, so I can reveal Horse, Stilts, and Yo-Yo, so I can try to get one of them. Next, 1 copy of Crystal Clearwing Synchro Dragon. He's a spell and trap negate, and then he can make himself unaffected by opponent's monsters' effects when they activate one, and then if he dies, you get to add a wind monster from your deck to your hand. Hi-Speedroid Clearwing Rider. Basically, he is a board wipe. He is kind of the plan B once the over Synchro Dragon dies. This is kind of what I like to float into, because then if it survives, we can potentially wipe the board and push for big damage. And finally, 1 copy of Crystal Clearwing Over Synchro Dragon. So this is the big level 12 guy. So you're using Glider number 2 plus Clearwing Synchro Dragon in order to make this guy. He's an Omni Negate, and then if he leaves the field because of an opponent's card, you get to special summon a Clearwing monster from your extra deck. Again, this is where this guy comes from. But yeah, so basically the goal is you just want to end on multiple dragons. And you'll see in the training for locals video, there were actually quite a few games where I literally ended on literally these 3 as my board. And most of the time that was enough. So yeah, really fun deck. It is a little combo intensive, I'll say. You really gotta think about what you're doing and stuff with your level modulations, but it's really fun. I highly recommend this deck for synchro enjoyers. Really fun. It's relatively easy to learn. Once you kind of get the combos down, then you're able to find your way. It's just a matter of learning them. But yeah, that's going to be it for the deck profile. I hope you enjoyed. Like, subscribe, vote in the locals poll, all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys next time.